Freedom or independence is a much sought after phenomenon by most of the living beings. On August 14th midnight, 1947, India has won political freedom from the British rule. We at News Analysis wish you a happy Independence Day. Let every one of us be independent forever. Welcome once again to News Analysis. News Analysis, a weekly magazine on current affairs. Let us begin with the important points. India will return to the 9% growth path, says Manmohan Singh. Death toll is still rising after storm in Taiwan. Huge blast near NATO Kabul base. Flu and fever is causing great concern everywhere. Hamas crackdown on Islamic radical group. Pakistan to reform tribal areas. And now the news in detail. India will return to the 9% growth path, says Manmohan Singh. Prime Minister Manmohan Singh on Saturday expressed confidence that the Indian economy will rebound by the end of this year and once again enter a high growth path. Going back to 9% growth path is our greatest challenge. For this we will take whatever steps that are required, the Prime Minister said in his Independence Day message to the nation in the majestic Red Fort. Security stepped up in New Delhi for Independence Day celebrations. The area will be a no-fly zone and the borders sealed totally. Anti-aircraft guns have been installed at strategic locations to ward off any airborne threat. On Saturday, snipers will be deployed atop buildings near the venue of the celebrations and a close watch on suspicious movements through a network of closed-circuit television cameras. Flu and fever is causing a great concern across the country and everywhere in the world right now. The nation now moves in mass. Death tolls of H1N1 is rising again, while government has revised their policy on the swine flu management. People are advised to consult health practitioners and officials and follow their instructions to ward off the instructions and keep the infection away. Hopes fade for Taiwan survivors. Hopes are fading that rescuers will be able to save hundreds of people trapped by mudslides and floods in Taiwan, 6 days after Typhoon Morakot struck the country. Thousands of troops are struggling across the shattered roads and collapsed bridges to reach stranded communities. The official death toll has risen to 120, but the President Ma Ying-jeou earlier said the final figure could exceed that. During his address to a national security meeting in the capital, Taipei, Mr. Ma described the storm as the most devastating in the half-century and considered that the reconstruction work might be even more difficult and cumbersome than the rescue efforts, which some have criticized as too slow. The death toll, he said, has reached over 500. President Ma Ying-jeou of Taiwan said on Friday that the death toll from the Typhoon Morakot, which pummeled the island with 3 days of rain and last weekend, would probably reach 500, far higher than 117 confirmed deaths announced the day before. Missing ship found off Africa. A missing ship with 15 Russian crew members on board has been spotted more than 2 weeks after it disappeared, unconfirmed reports say. The Arctic Sea had been sighted in the Bay of Biscay on 30th July. It had now been seen some 400 nautical miles from the Cape Verde Islands of West Africa, the local Coast Guard said in a report. Afghan vote campaign intensifies. The three leading Afghan presidential candidates have spent Friday traveling across the country in an effort to win votes ahead of next week's poll. President Karzai, the frontrunner, flew to the western city of Herat to address thousands of supporters. Former Foreign Minister Abdullah traveled to the central province of Dai Kundi to ask for votes. The other leading candidate, Ghani Ahmadzai, went to Zabul after a TV debate between the three was cancelled. Huge blast near NATO Kabul base. A suicide car bomb has exploded outside the NATO headquarters in Kabul, killing at least 3 Afghan civilians and wounding about 70, officials reported. The presidential palace and several embassies are also located in the area. The attack comes ahead of presidential and provincial elections due on Thursday, which the Taliban have vowed to disrupt. The BBC reported a group affiliated to the Taliban is likely to be the responsible for the blast and the killings. Hamas crackdown on radical group. The Hamas organization that controls Gaza has launched a bloody crackdown on a radical Islamist group after it declared Gaza an Islamic Emirate. At least 16 people died and scores were injured when Hamas fighters attacked the Jund Ansar Allah group in a mosque in Rafah near Egypt border. Hamas also stormed the house of its leader, the cleric Abdul Latif Musa, but his fate is not known. A Hamas spokesman said the group of members must have themselves in. The fighting lasted 7 hours and ended at about midnight. Hamas also stormed the house of its leader, the cleric Abdul Latif Musa, and it is reported that he is also killed among the 22 people who got killed. Mexico prison riot leaves 19 dead. At least 19 inmates have been killed and more than 20 injured in a riot in a prison in the northern Mexican state of Durango, security officials say. Smoke was seen rising from the prison in the town Gómez Palacio and gunshots were heard from behind. Officials said violence resulted from rivalry between two gangs in the jail. US TV focused on health anger. US President Barack Obama has accused the media on focusing on healthcare forums only when tempers flare. What you haven't seen on TV is what makes me proud are the many constructive meetings going all over the country, he continued. Speaking at a town hall meeting in Montana, Mr. Obama called on Americans who have insurance to support them. Court gave bail to Congo's Bemba. The International Criminal Court, ICC, has ordered the conditional release of Congolese ex-vice president Jean-Pierre Bemba ahead of his war crimes trial. However, the court said he would not be freed until it was decided which country would host him. Mr. Bemba, who led a rebel group during the Democratic Republic of Congo's civil war, was arrested in Belgium last year and extradited to Hague.